Welcome back to the LEC as Misfits took down Astralis, and with this victory they're getting one step closer to locking in the top 4. And to talk about this game I have with me Mersa. Thank you very much for joining me, Mersa. One question about the game, because for the majority of the split we've been used to Misfits gaining power in the mid to late game, but it looks like for the past 2 games when you have an advantage in the early game, this is when things get messy for you in the following up on the game. Do you agree on that, and is it something you addressed with the team?
First of all, thank you for having me. Yes, we talked about this after last week, that even in the game versus Vitality, right? I think we started pretty well. Like we had a small gold lead, we had like 2-3 drakes, I'm not sure, and then we couldn't like play good in the mid game, and we threw the game. But like there are many games where we start like down 5k and we find the comeback. So this week we tried to work on it. Obviously, we are still not there, but I think we are getting better. And this game like started pretty well. We just like were a bit undecisive on some plays, and that costed us.
All right. I think it's a different mechanic when you're playing being ahead. What do you think makes it difficult for you playing ahead and leading the pace of the game? Because as we said, that's not something you guys have been used to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure. Like today they also had like this Astralis team comps that they are like doing with Vex, and like dive comps and CC comps are a bit like annoying to play against, and if you do like some mistakes, like they can always come back. So yeah, it was like mostly that. I feel like their combos like pretty good at like catching us off guard.
All right. Well, a win is a win, nonetheless, and it's looking super good for you leading into playoffs. And I want to ask Mersa, because the last time we had a talk with each other was in the beginning of the split, if I remember correctly. Yes. What's your take on the improvements that you made throughout the last weeks, and how do you reflect on your progress in the LEC?
I mean, I'm still not very satisfied with my performance, but obviously, like this is like a long-term plan. Like it's spring now, and our goal is like to be as good as possible by summer. So like I trust the process, and I mean, like step by step, I feel like I'm improving, and obviously, like I have great coaches. So it's going better.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that, and we can see the progress from your end, Mersa. Last question for you. VIT had yet another Xayah player of the game today. Where would you rank him among the LEC mid laners right now?
I mean, right now, like top 1 for sure. I think like Larsen was the other mid laner that was like pretty good in the start of the split. But I feel like Vincent, like VeTo, is more consistent. So right now I would like put him on the top.
Yeah, he's been doing really good this year in the LEC. Well, that's all for us now, Mersa. Thank you so much for the interview, and good luck on the rest of Super Week. I heard some players were sick, so hopefully everything goes right for you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And for the next game, Mad Lions face elimination as they need a win against Vitality. So let's just listen to their thoughts ahead of Super Week.
For Mad Lions to make playoffs, we have to beat all the oppositions in the Super Week.
We have to win everything, like there is no more room for mistakes. We have already done too many. At the beginning we were in a really good spot. I think we all thought we were fine, we were good. But after that we kept having some mistakes, we kept having some losses that were affecting a bit our confidence, and like the moment they keep coming and then you just go into a negative atmosphere, then everything crumbles a bit and you realize you're just like 5-9 in the standings.
Try to get in behind the Chaos Storm, Basil will fall. Wonder going forward, Unforgiven, pops the Moonlight Vigil, has to pop the blast over to get away, and Intersects on the chase. A double once again for the Pike. Reeker third, as Upset will take him, Unforgiven, number 4. Venetica done with this game.
Not making playoffs after winning LEC back-to-back would be embarrassment for us.
From being champion to maybe not even making playoffs, it's something really tough because it affects your confidence a lot. Like you think you're better than what you really are. When you don't have that support that you would have last year, you realize that you are still missing a lot of everything to be a good player. Like you're still missing a lot of experience, you're still missing a lot of knowledge, a lot of like everything. You just realize how bad you are when you miss that part. It's a really big hit for my ego and my confidence, but yeah.
Fnatic will shut Mad Lions out of playoff
climbing this wall is like the last chance we have to make playoffs, so we have to give our best right now. It's just one more week and then I'm gonna be bored of vacations or whatever, and it feels really bad, man. There is always hope. I don't know where it comes from, but you always have to hope. Like, you need to stick to something to... There is always a reason. In this case, we want those playoffs. We believe it's still possible, even though it's for sure not in our hands anymore. I mean, it can still be, but yeah, it's hard. But it's on us.
I see hope. I think we can do it.
For the Mad Lions, it's been a long and difficult road so far this season. Of course, with Humanoid and Carzzy departing the roster, they've had to look for new players, and with Reeker and Unforgiven, I don't think it's gone exactly the way that they had hoped so far. And now they arrive here at Super Week, which needing to win every single game they play. For Vitality and Mad both, this is a very important game because, of course, they're both still fighting to get into those playoffs. But Caedrel, it's been quite sad, I think, seeing how it's been for the Mad Lions so far this season. Even though, you know, you have to take it into account when you replace two players on such important roles.
Yeah, carry roles, especially in the mid to late game. They still have a lot of their core fundamentals. I actually thought with Armut, with Kaiser, with Elyoya still there, they still have those three star players to make them get to playoffs, and they don't. And the sad reality is there's a very likely chance that they won't make it, especially if they lose here, they are out. I can't remember the last time I can think of a team that's won back-to-back championships, even just one, and then fell apart. Maybe Alliance back in the days.
2015.
Was it that Alliance days? 2015?
No, that was it Fnatic?
Well, maybe Fnatic, but still,
like,
it's been years since we've seen a team that's at the top of their game and then failed to make even the top 6. So
we actually looked this up and I forgot. So maybe if Alliance indeed. Yeah,
Alliance.
you were right. Yeah, actually that's not that much of a surprise.
It's quite a free fall they've had this.
It's crazy, Nisqy. But yeah, when you look at kind of the roster and the roster you played against, and with the Elyoya and Armut, Carzzy, Humanoid, Kaiser strengths, what do you make of the fact that they weren't able to do anything yet, really, with the new members?
I feel like I don't know, I feel like the core is there still, but I feel like they really like the voice of Humanoid, because apparently he was the one leading mid-game and kind of the macro part of Mad Lions, so maybe having like a rookie in the mid lane is kind of, I mean, technically hurting them as well, but I think they just didn't find their identity, I guess.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because they've been looking for it for so long. Just from the drafts, you can tell from outside perspective. You look at their drafts, they tried so many different compositions, and their early games have been good, but they've just been losing the tempo of the game in the mid to late game. And we're going to look at that against Fnatic. They were winning the game. They had a great early game going for them, but it all just kind of collapsed around them. This mid fight here, Mad are ahead, but they're just kind of engaging mid. I mean, their solo lanes are nowhere close. Humanoid has flash up during this whole play, and now you've got this even game state that you're just forcing a 3v3 mid. Maybe you think you could catch Humanoid and CC chain him before he can flash away, but you're actually ahead in this game. You can catch bot waves, play towards top side, keep your vision, defend your vision, but all of a sudden, you walk it down, you run it down mid, you get the fight, you lose it, you give away 3 kills, Fnatic get a Baron, and now all of this early game lead that you've got is just vanished in the poof of an eye.
In the proof of an eye. Nisqy, in your experience, you know, how hard is it to, if you're already a struggling team and your issue is specifically mid-game decision making, can you kind of talk to us about how hard that is to mitigate, especially with 2 players that are new?
I mean, usually I feel like when you have issues in mid game and late game, I feel like it's the hardest point to like, how can I say, like learn, I guess, and like teach your players. Because first of all, in scrims, you don't really get to even mid games usually. It's like one team stomps the other one, or you just stomp the other team usually. So I feel like teaching mid game is really hard, and as a team playing as 5, being on the same page is for me one of the hardest tasks to do on teams.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, just to add on to that, the amount of small things you need to do, the minute things from communication, map movements, the concepts, the keywords even that you use. I mean, different teams have different words, you know, like demon shift moving towards sides. But top matchups, what we got behind us, Alphari versus Armut. And where has Armut been this split, it feels like, right? I mean, he's been playing things like Aatrox blind recently, getting countered. He's been playing some of the carry matchups. But when you think back to last year, he was kind of like this team fight prowess, and Alphari is this lane dominant person. So I feel like I'm kind of worried for Mad Lions on the top side.
Yeah, I think if we look at everything, Elyoya and Kaiser have still been performing adequately with the situation they've been given, but I don't think we can say the same for Armut. Unfortunately, he's not really found his groove here. Final note on Vitality, they look like they will go into the playoffs. Where do you think this team's ceiling could be, Nisqy?
I think they can make it into top 4, to be honest. Because for me, I feel like Fnatic, G2, Rogue, and And Vitality, yeah. Would be top 4. So yeah, I believe in them. They also have the Perkz factor, which usually spikes in playoffs, so...
Yeah, it's true. We haven't even seen that yet.
Spikes under pressure.
Spikes under pressure. Let's get into picks and bans for this do or die game for the Mad Lions with Guldborg and Drakos.
Hello, thank you very much. Top 4, interesting. I feel like everyone believes in this team to be a best of 5 team, Guldborg, but right now we're playing best of 1s. And I will say on the Vitality side, since we did hear a lot about Mad in that death segment, a little more consistency would be nice. Just a little bit.
I fully get it. I fully get it because I completely agree with you. I feel like we're at a point where the players and the caliber players we're seeing on Vitality quite often show up in a stylistic way in the mid game where it's like, wow, only these individuals can pull this off after being this behind in the early game. And it also comes down to the fact that they're playing quite hard to execute drafts as well at the same time. Where I would love to see this team in a best of 5 setting where you really see them finally get to adapt on the fly as well, see how the players finally get into a longer situation than just a best of 1.
Yeah, and of course, for now, it's time to get into picks and bans. Oh, wow. The jams keep coming out. I love pick band music this season. Shout out to our producer who waded through production music library nightmare to find us so many delicious bangers. Anyway, we're going to talk about the draft in a second, but quick reminder of the stakes of this game. You may have heard it at the desk, but Vitality win, they are locked in playoffs. Mad lose, they are locked out of playoffs. Right now, Vitality the heavy favorites heading into this game, but we'll see what the draft looks like and what Mad look like when we set foot onto the Rift.
Now, this is interesting already. Blue side with a point ban coming in, usually showing that you have a different first pick. You want to go through a different game plan because quite often that is a pick that's left over to the red side to go for. Also interesting to see they ban away the LeBlanc of Reeker. Honestly, last time these two teams faced, of course, that was one of the victories that Mad Lions actually had. We saw Reeker and Elyoya bring out the Diana Yasuo composition with Armut, of course, back then with the Renekton in the top side. So it's going to be interesting to see Vitality probably get some redemption this time around now that they've been looking way better than they did in that first week. And Mad Lions, unfortunately, has been slowing down a little bit.
Certainly has, and it's important to remember exactly what happened in that game. Remember, it was Perkz maybe a little bit overconfident on the Akshan. The one time we saw him bust out the Akshan mid, didn't get a rear his head.
What is it they usually say? Perkz on AD mid laners. It's better to see him on mages. I mean, I think for sure we've seen some better signs as well. Last time he was on the Twisted Fate. Victor Bank goes out as well, so actually a lot of mid lane priority. Rise still up and available as well, something we've seen Reeker default to. TF, something we just saw Perkz play last week as well. And Mad Lions, are you starting to take away some of the interesting AD carry picks we're seeing all the time, or do you feel like there's some other picks you need to stabilize, especially maybe in the solo lane as well? We've seen Vitality be quite proactive in those lanes, and yeah, there we actually have it. Camille getting the last ban for Mad Lions.
Taking away some of the safe blind pick options for Alphari, of course, maybe looking to give the luxury of counter pick. Okay.
Drakos.
All right. Reminder, Guldborg covered it once, but it was Diana Yasuo that Mad Lions used to obliterate Vitality.
Swear, if Vitality bring out a Renekton Yasuo second rotation on blue side, then that will just be the Vitality draft, or rather the Mad Lions draft that they ran against Vitality back then.
Yeah, that would be excellent. 3 cheers for sweet revenge, some would say.
Well, usually Jinx will go over to the side of Unforgiven. Arcane Champions usually is the name of the game when it comes to power picks and our meta at the moment. Usually we see a jungle rotation come through, since Sauer is one of those junglers that's still up and available that does fairly well into Diana with the disengage. Mad Lions, they're hovering though for a long time, talking about what they're looking for at this instance.
I don't think it's Rek'Sai. Bold prediction.
They're just swapping this one around. Okay,
Twisted
so we had Perkz and Twisted Fate last week, and now they're just giving it over to Reeker. Oh my god, Drakos, it's happening.
Good, excellent prediction, Guldborg. Obviously, this is a great 3-champion topside pairing. You can really put any bot lane together with it to make it work. Maybe something with a little bit more AP or magic damage on the bottom side of the map. We'll see what they want to go for. Could potentially see the Aphelios Jinx endless mirror match broken for a game, which would be refreshing. But focusing on Mad Lions now, Armut. sometimes known as Armut, and it will come out here. The man certainly comfortable on this champion. Has always been excellent in the team fights, even if he has struggled a bit in lane from time to time. But I'm excited to see what Reeker can do on this Twisted Fate. Frees him up to very easily impact the rest of the map. And again, we've talked a lot about this guy. Big shoes to fill this season coming in for Humanoid. But if there was a game to show up, it's certainly this one, and that champion gives him the tools to do so.
Oh yeah, for sure, and a lot of responsibility at the same time. A lot of the playmaking is going to be coming from the mid lane itself. We're so used to seeing the team try and facilitate Reeker a little bit, to help him a little bit like training wheels. This time around, it's going to be the opposite, with Reeker now on the TF. Now on the opposite side of Vitality, banning out some of the safe supports that could get paired up with this Jinx. And I wonder, jungle should probably come out from Mad Lions here in 4, just because they can get the counter pick on 5. So maybe the likes of Sinsao, maybe the likes, what else could disengage against Alphari, or rather Selfmade on the Diana. No, I feel like Sin would just be the most logical for me coming into this, or you decide to take away the Thresh, one or the other, and it seems to be the Sinsao instead.
Sinsao. And in general, we've just seen Xin be such a high priority champion in EU for so long. He's playing with my heart.
You can't blind pick it. I played a lot of Renata, and I'll tell you right now, it's not very blind pickable. It's very situational. It's very good disengage, but it would be against the top side of the map. But I feel like you should just go with a jungler here. You can get counter pick on support anyway.
But what if you Renata all 3 of those melee champions? Of course, there's a wind wall, so that just probably wouldn't work. And instead, it's going to be an Alistar. Okay, this is big. Alistar, a champion we do not see a whole ton of. Of course, once he does hit level 6, he is that unkillable dive machine.
That is so interesting. I'll tell you why we barely see Alistar get locked in, and especially as a blind pick. His level 1 is non-existent. You forfeit complete wave control because you can't do anything. At best, you start W and knock the enemy AD carry away when they try to farm. So now on the side of Team Vitality, they know exactly the bot lane they're going to be going up against, and they can look for a little bit of a counter pick themselves. But quite honestly, Nautilus into Alistar. Alistar's not too sad about that one.
Definitely a solid option. Of course, tanking is going to be in the favor of Alistar as we move later in the game, but Nautilus much more reliable engage tools in the form of that ultimate. What is the final pick going to be here for the side of the Mad Lions? Giving jungle pick last to Elyoya. See how deep the pool goes, because it's been hit a ton. You already highlighted the Xin. The Hecarim has been banned away too. A lot of the easy, reliable champions. And the Poppy gonna come out. Now, this is a supportive champion, but I see Diana, I see Renekton, I see Nautilus, I see Yasuo, and I see a steadfast presence. And let me tell you, if you've ever played a Dash champion against Poppy, there is no feeling worse in the world than just getting absolutely ruined by a single basic ability.
I will say it's not the worst one to go up against Poppy against. We're not talking full dive with Jarvan or Lee Sin. Diana can still have that flash ultimate instead, or go in with Protobell before going in with an E or the flash itself. But it's a very teamfight heavy composition from the Mad Lions. You're playing around the pick potential, you're playing around your front line, and you have to feel like Unforgiven on the Jinx here has to be the late game AD carry, because there's not a lot of damage that's going to be coming out from Reeker. We know the TF has been nerfed as well. So now, it's going to be interesting to see how the two compositions are going to fare up against each other. You have a heavy topside focus on Vitality. And on the side of Mad Lions, they want to play for Unforgiven once he gets out of that laning phase.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be a big deal because we see the 3 veteran players of the team all playing champion set up to enable the rest of the squad, the 2 younger players, Unforgiven and Reeker, the ones who need to step up in this game. The Twisted Fate who can spread that pressure across the map. The Jinx who has to be the big source of damage. Let's get into the game. Team Vitality versus Mad Lions. Four teams have locked their place in the LEC playoffs. 2 yet remain. Vitality looking to be one of them with a win over Mad here. Mad, it feels impossible. but it probably felt impossible for SK2, and they managed to beat Rogue, so crazier things have happened. That's it! This is the worst possible start! Reeker getting cyber-bullied in the mid lane. Gold card does come out. Maybe they can turn it. Kaiser knocking him back into the tower. They're getting at least one tower shot. Labrov getting lower and lower, ticking, burning, ignite, going. Will it be enough? Healing through. It's going to be okay in the end, but Armut! Flash over the wall. Are they going to follow? Hook out. Spider Knot goes to safety. And in the end, nobody is going to die. Reeker gives up no sums. Crucially, Kaiser trades his Ignite for the flash of Labrov.
Yeah, and Ignite, yeah, you're completely right. Ignite from Kaiser there as well. Interesting down from the bot side here, because Vitality would actually have some opportunities to be aggressive in the early game. As we already talked about, Alistar doesn't do too much level 1. Having that hook threat together with the poke you get from Carzzy with the area as well means you can take small trades instead of these extended trades that Jinx usually benefits from, where she gets to stack up the lethal tempo, get that extra range. And crucially, as you say, Reeker saved that flash, because on a Twisted Fate, the laning phase is not usually what you're going for. It's more hit that level 6 and have an influence on the side lane. And quite often we see them struggle a little bit on the first few waves, so having that flash available is just going to do you great wonders.
Absolutely, and especially when Perkz is taking Ignite. He is not about playing for the rest of the map, and we heard him talk about this on Euphoria when he was on a few weeks ago. If you take Ignite, your lane phase is harder. You need to play flawlessly because teleport gets you out of so many bad situations. It makes playing macro so much easier, so really need to see what Perkz can do with the summoner spell to get big value in the early game. And I think for Reeker, it's just so crucial because starting Flashless, when you've already had a season where you've kind of been the guy to pin the blame on, right? You are the guy who is not humanoid. That is just a tough position to be in. And while criticism of, Mad Lions is fair, I feel like this is a guy who has so much pressure on his shoulders right now in this final week to perform.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there was even a recent interview with Reeker as well, where he was talking about, you know what, in the first weeks, I felt like a rookie. I let a lot of the responsibility go to the veterans, and I'm finally starting to find my footing in the team, being a voice instead. Which makes a lot of sense to me, because I saw Reeker and Big at the European Masters to K-Corp to Game 5 in the semi-finals, and in that instance, he was kind of that veteran on the team. He was the one calling the shots. He was the one getting facilitated. So Reeker, for him, I feel like this entire spring split has just been about fitting in the LEC and finding that confidence, really.
Absolutely, and I think the other new player on Mad Lions deserves some talking about as well, too. Unforgiven, a guy who came in very strong, the Jhin, the card that everyone remembers his first weeks, has kind of fallen off a little bit. And again, a difficult season for the team as a whole, not trying to point any fingers, but these are the players in this game specifically that we're looking to step up, both Reeker and Unforgiven, to show some of what we saw from Unforgiven in week 1, some of what we saw from Reeker in those victory games where he was really successful, because no one else on this team can carry a game in this one. That's a Gnar, yeah, maybe a perfect Mega Gnar, a Poppy jungle. I'm sorry, there's just not enough damage there. And Alistar, no, you have all the tools to make the team fight happen. Now it's on Reeker and Unforgiven to deal the damage, to be in the right position, to play this game out well enough to bring it home.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, but I also feel like at the same time, a lot of that went down to Matt being kind of experimental. We even saw it towards the last week as well, where they had one game where they played heavy for bot lane with a Pyke, and then they had the other game where they had to find their win condition with the Aatrox top. So this is a team that tries to be multi-dimensional, but just haven't had success in any of the dimensions yet, really, which is of course sad to see from a team like Mad Lions, but it is a new roster built around the core, and Spring for them has been about the rebuilding. Now diving a little bit into the lanes itself, we have had resets coming through from Unforgiven, as you mentioned. They crashed on 3, allows them to get a free reset. Selfmade with top prio and mid prio is invading Elyoya here just for some camps.
They're going in. Good upfront burst damage from the Poppy. The Hammer Shock and the ability to just knock somebody into the wall with a follow-up a little bit harder in a sustained fight. That Diana passive does a lot of work. But just fighting over small camps here, seeing if anyone can eke out a greater advantage. Alphari building up a small lead on the top side is able to push those waves in. And Alphari in general, obviously coming off of a monster week last week. And with the Renekton paired with the Diana, we can see some pretty easy gank setup. Armut has to be very careful. If you're Mega Gnar, you're probably fine. If you're Mini Gnar, even if you're under your tower post level 6, it's going to be rough to survive.
Yeah, but between 5:30-minute mark and 6 minutes, that's where the teams will finally get a little bit aggressive, because that's usually where we start hitting level 6 from the mid laners. And from the side of Mad Lions, that's where you can start looking for multi-map plays, or broader map plays rather, with the Twisted Fate. And on the side of Vitality, well, it's about looking for Reeker in the mid lane while he's pushing up. And this is a slow pushed wave. No one in the back for Reeker at the moment, but he's being patient. And they spot up Labrov, which allows him to crash the wave. Rest of Mad Lions coming in. You can see Elyoya from the back end as well. Kaiser now as well. Just making sure Reeker can crash this wave without dying. And there we have it. 5:36 has been hit from the mid lane.
Yep. Can't move to other lanes, but you can see Unforgiven opting for the Cole. It does feel like it's going to be a bit more of a scaling game here. holding out, waiting. Certainly more than enough team fight power as Mad move later into the game. Of course, the big scary thing about the Yasuo Diana combo is that even if it's behind, if at any point they hit their combo on your back line, the game's kind of just done. Unless, you know, they have 2 items and you have 6, then you're probably fine. But anything short of that, the combo is just so devastating that it doesn't matter if Mad can do what we've seen them do in so many other games, which is build an early game lead. If they fumble once in the mid game, something that they have been doing, it can fall apart so quickly.
Yeah, I do agree, but if we go to a 5v5 scenario where Vitality is actually behind and we're not seeing 3-item finish on the scary carry members from Selfmade and from Perkz here in this composition, I mean, they have a lot of good disengage. Kaiser with a knock-up, Elyoya as well, either with a step-fast presence or just in general, the ultimate to knock them away. You get Armut, who can just have some more disengage and now ultimates instead. Like, there's a lot of ways from Vitality's composition, or Mad Lion's composition rather, to be dealing with some of the combos that's going to be coming out, so...
Nope. Alphari going for the engage here. Hyperproc is going to be extra movement speed. Engaging topside. Gold card buffers the dash. Gets the second one back through. Clean play from Alphari to make it out of that one.
Exactly. Super smart just standing on top of the gate there instead, knowing he could get not only the slice but the dice on top of it. And just stopping the third Destiny gate to come out there, this means that Perkz can push in the mid lane. He can move down towards the bot side, get a little bit of priority if they want to have some greater setup for a potential Drake in the future. So that was the first Mad Lions attack we saw. And they completely disengaged it. Now up towards the top side. We're just going to get into the minion now in a bit. Selfmade not level 6 yet, but Alphari can just dash on him.
Through, clean engage, easy follow-up. Armut, no real way out of this one. Is forced to flash to safety, but the flash follow-up means first blood for Alphari and Vitality.
Great setup for Vitality, catching Armut off guard in a lane where he's just been pushing in. He's feeling himself because he knew he just had a momentum play, forcing Alphari back, forcing him to TP. But quite honestly, flashing in that instance, I mean, Diana had the second E, Alphari had to flash himself. You're just dead for sure. And now Armut, he expended the teleport earlier. He's going to just be walking back to the top lane instead, trying to catch a wave that Alphari is now crashing. And while Alphari is crashing that, he can go for a safe reset himself. So nicely done for Vitality here, getting the first kill in the early game.
Certainly. And we talked about it once before, but I think in general, just Alphari, especially in the lane phase, always a player worth highlighting. We saw it in the GP last week. Monster performance. We're starting to see it now here from the Renekton. Also getting a lot of attention from Selfmade. He has spent some time on an island, depending on how Vitality have drafted this season, but I do love when those two pair up and work together, because now the game is just so hard for Armut.
I completely agree, and the Gnar matchup into the Renekton can be explosive because it is a counter pick in the sense from the early game for Gnar, and especially because we see Hullbreaker Gnar so often, this is just a great meta for him. But if you come to a point where the Renekton all of a sudden starts getting kill pressure on you, you can't really utilize the exact counter in the champion itself, and especially not if Selfmade is going to have free pathing up towards the top side if the vision is not there facilitating it. And it's playing around that Destiny Gate cooldown. As soon as Reeker doesn't have the ultimate, well, that's where you get to have free time on the side of Vitality.
Yeah. And I think at this point, Guldborg, it's been a little bit of a slower game. And we know a couple things. We talked about it already. Mad Lions, great team fighting, great disengage tools, Unforgiven, Reeker, the guys who need to deal the damage. On the side of Vitality, it's Yasuo Diana. You've seen it once, you've seen it a million times. You push R together, ideally close to each other, one after the other, preferably, and everybody dies. But in the immediate future, in the next few minutes, like, what are we looking at as the next big plays? I know Herald was something for Mad you've talked about a lot.
See, the thing was, I'm actually really surprised we haven't seen any neutral objectives being taken just yet. I thought as soon as the Destiny Gate was down from Reeker, Vitality was going to be looking for either a Drake, at least when they had the bot side priority, or try and just force a play around Herald. But we're speaking about this Herald now, 9 minutes into the game.
Yeah, the push back, he already made it in. He's going to try to foot disengage with Perkz, it just doesn't work. And that's the combo, even the steadfast presence, not enough to stop it.
Oh, missed the timing of it, didn't stop the initial Lunar Rush from Selfmade, and now Labrov going on to Armut, no flash.
Caught out, no flash means that is one dead prehistoric Yordle. Is that what he is? Prehistoric Yordle.
He is a prehistoric Yordle. I do believe he was frozen up, then, you know, came alive again. The standard story about whatever they are.
I love that you followed me to give me that information,
well,
rather than talking about the Herald. Yeah, no, that's fair. I appreciate you.
It's a given. Herald is dying. The top laner died, therefore Selfmade and the rest of Vitality gets complete priority around it. And there we have it.
He's a prehistoric Yordle. If you, like me, couldn't quite remember his lore because he came out 1,000,000 years ago, there it is.
I always thought it was a cool design, but either way, Vitality's early game has usually been something they've not been very good at, and now Mad Lions, they try to answer it themselves. Rotations have come through from the lanes. Alphari down towards the bot side. Labrov trying to match it as well. But Mad Lions is doing a good job. Just zoning this. Remember, Reeker's ultimate to join it as well if he wants to.
Definitely does. Alphari, though, just dashes in, clears the wave. Labrov waiting in the darkness. Both teams playing pretty well around Fog of War, trying to set up these traps, but neither side going to take the bait. Mad now going to take the Consolation Drake, it feels like. Nautilus is going to recall, and Xayah just going to move up to catch the mid-wave. So no real recourse here from the side of Vitality, as Perkz is also recalling. Don't have enough members on the map, but we'll see what they can do when they do return to their respective lanes.
And this is very interesting because usually Mad Lions, they just love their Heralds. I mean, I think they had the highest first Herald percentage in the entire league and the worst Drake percentage. So it just shows that this is a team that likes getting the first Herald, try to inject some gold with the plating, and then just play towards that carry when it's working out. And obviously, you would have loved to done that with the Jinx as well in this instance. But this time around, they're going to be playing on the back foot. Usually something you would like to see, but it is obviously a team composition that is scaling with the Jinx, right? So, and you got the disengage if we already have talked about in a team fight scenario with Kaiser on the Alistar, Elyoya on the Puppey as well. But it's about finding that point of attack with Reeker, because if it goes on like this, Mad Lions, they're just gonna continuously getting attacked by Vitality and not really find their footing to ever play for the Jinx then.
And you just can't afford to fall that far behind. Jinx hasn't even completed an item. Yes, she has a coal, so when she completes that, it's gonna be a lot of extra gold in the pocket and we'll be able to move through, but the sheer amount of burst damage, further and further far behind you fall, the more your execution has to be flawless to stop these fights from coming through. Kaiser on the top side. 3v3. Elyoya coming in looking to change it, but a wind wall to interrupt a little bit of follow-up there. Labrov now going to be the headbutt pulverized combo. Hyper ticking. Elyoya now chasing through. Phase Rush has been procced. He's zooming in, he's zooming out, but he goes gold. That's the stopwatch. Armut now going in, but it's immediately going to be the turn. Two members ulted up with the combo, but not quite enough to finish the job. Perkz getting isolated. Perkz getting picked apart. That's the big Gnar coming in from Armut, and Vitality biting off more than they can chew and having it turned against them.
And that's some of the ego plays we sometimes see from Vitality, quite frankly. It's a 3 versus 4 situation. Alphari is pushing down on the bot side. Carzzy slow to the play. He was walking up from the mid lane. And they try finding the outplay through the mechanical skill, but she's not able to do so, and we talked about it. Matt needed a point of attack to get back into the game. Initially, it's a good play from Vitality. You get first turret. You have multiple members of Mad Lions going up there. You can just sacrifice Labrov and then attack mid lane, attack bot side if that's what you want to, with Alphari getting flea painting. But they decided to be greedy for it, and all of a sudden, game remains competitive.
Definitely does. 2k gold lead being held right now for Vitality, about 1.5 after that play. But as we take a look back at this, you can see Vitality 3 members, but there goes the TF ult.
And initially, you can see Labrov tries to disengage, just try to get out of there, but you can see from the posturing of Vitality, they kind of want to get in there. They kind of want to bait out some of the skill shots, or not skill shots, but disengaging abilities from the side of Mad Lions. But it's just, it's very difficult when you're going on to multiple members this early into the game. We talked about it. 3 items on Diana and Yasuo in that instance. Yes, you blew them up completely, but 1 item, not really.
And here's the struggle. Perkz got to ult, but then he immediately got wallbanged by the Poppy. Boom, boom. And then immediately got walloped by the Gnar as soon as he tried to dash out. So it's hard.
And that's just how the Mad Lions composition is supposed to function into the composition of Vitality. It is the disengage when they go in. They quite honestly want you to engage on you, as long as it's not unforgiven. Because Reeker can always opt in for a stopwatch into a Sonya's Hourglass, which, I mean, he's already sitting on the stopwatch. And that's just going to be the disengaging you're going to be playing for. As long as the Jinx is not behind, you have a win condition in Mad Lions, although it is a little bit slim.
No. Now, see what the execution looks like as we move further into the game. Armut, it looks like building towards Trinity Force. That said, Hullbreaker already done for Alphari, so can't keep up a lot of pressure in the side lane, potentially keep Reeker under that tower. Threatening the dive with the gold card looming, with an Everfrost looming, as well as the stopwatch for Reeker feels difficult, but keeping him locked under tower feels like a real possibility. That said, Yasuo, traditionally excellent matchup into the Gnar, or considered sometimes a counter pick rather, as he can wind wall the boomerang and just take that cooldown out for a very long period of time.
Good vision control from Mad Lions. They have spotted out Selfmade, Carzzy and Labrov now as well. Selfmade has the presence of mind to check with the Q, rest of Mad Lions coming in, but I'm not too sure if they want to fancy a fight around this Drake. They want a few more items than the Jinx, or at least try to see if they can catch someone off guard, because they do still have the pick potential, but when Reeker's not nearby, when he's up towards the top side, he's not going to be able to join the team. And Alphari does have the TP advantage currently. Oh no, forget that, Reeker just to get the TP up.
And I want to give some credit to Mad Lions here, and that it's a very difficult composition to play against. That if Vitality ever find that exposed member, if they ever find anyone isolated, they can knock someone out of the game completely. But the way that Kaiser, Elyoya, and the rest of Mad have been moving around the map to cover these lanes, to match Vitality wherever they go, has been super solid to stop this snowball from getting any worse. Yes, it is still about a 1.5k gold lead in favor of Vitality, but it's not growing and the kills are dead even.
Completely right. Although Unforgiven has that edge over Carzzy in the matchup so far, which is honestly what you love to see. And I think some of it goes back to the fact that Labrov did not start laning phase with Flash. It gave you some extra breathing room. And now Kaiser, we talked about a pick. We talked about you can go for some of it. I don't know if Labrov's the one you want to go for, but here's Elyoya around as well. Reeker joining the fight.
Aftershock trade for Aftershock, but immediately the CC, it's just too much. That's the execute with the Jinx rocket, but now Carzzy is stepping forward. Alphari moving in. That TP ultimately going to feel a little bit wasted because Gnar is pushing in on the bottom side, and Alphari can't get anything done in the mid lane.
And that's what we talked about. Kill going over to Unforgiven. Exactly what you wanted from Mad Lion's side, and you did it without even opting in for a team fight. Now it's a 5 versus 4 situation.
Extra movement speed comes out from the rocket belt, leaping over the wall, take out Armut. One quick pick means this dragon should be an easy pickup for the side of Vitality. That said, Reeker, Kaiser, Unforgiven, Elyoya, 4 members strong of Mad in the area, and it looks like they are ready to contest. Alphari, a very strong crocodile, but he cannot dash out of that steadfast presence. There's just so much CC. The feathers fly, but they will not be pulled back.
You can play patiently. Labrov is returning to the fight as well. Death timers are fairly slow so far, or quick rather, and that means Armut will be up and available as well in 10 seconds, although he does not have that teleport. Vitality with the remaining members able to secure their first neutral objective in the Drake, or rather the second one. And now, just about maintaining some control of the map again. You have Alphari down towards the bot side, breaking open the outer turret with the Hold Breaker, exactly what you want to see. But for Vitality as well, it's about regaining side lane pressure, so you get Mad Lions to respond with multiple members, and once they do that, you try and opt in for this mid lane. You want to be able to push Reeker as far as back as possible on the map, while also enabling Perkz and Selfmade on the Diana Yasuo for potential counter jungling, without having to worry about the safety of a mid lane turret for Mad Lions.
Yeah. Something to work away at, something to chip away at as Carzzy now pushes in the mid lane. But the second tower of the game going to Vitality. Mad still towerless. Hard to get pressure, hard to get control here when, as you highlighted, they're weaker on the sides. And Perkz is only going to get stronger when he hits that 2-item power spike. Hullbreaker, of course, making it very easy for Alphari in the respective 1v1. Although Stridebreaker makes things a little bit easier for Armut. Rocket Belt, the extra movement speed for Selfmade, not quite enough to get him into range and to kick things off with the combo. Armut has to be careful here. That said, second Herald started, has been warded out, but the control ward will stop any further vision from coming through. Mad Lions, they've got Mega Gnar for just a brief moment. If they want to go, they have to go now, but instead it looks like they're just going to have to concede this one.
Intel is being given.
Knockback, support out of the fight, isolated. Reeker off to the side, chain CC onto the Renekton and knocked into the wall, but they don't really have a lot of follow-up damage. He's waiting. Does he have the ultimate? No, he doesn't. Going over the wall, gold card comes out, but the wind wall from Perkz. Hero play to keep his top laner alive, but it will cost him the AD carry as Carzzy is collapsed on. Again, the CC coming out left and right. Labrov getting cut down. He cannot escape. Mad Lions on the hunt. They have picked apart Vitality, and they are tearing them to pieces. Selfmade cannot even fire back with enough damage to find a kill in return. Alphari ulting. He has enough fury to get some health back, but there's just too much CC. He can't push a button. Guldborg.
And Vitality in the mid-game once again. They fall short here. It's just around the Herald. Mad Lions, bread and butter. They finally find a team fight, making you a little bit nostalgic of old Mad Lions with the way that is piloted. And it comes from Elyoya's engage on the Poppy, catching out Alphari. Intel being given over by Reeker initially, knowing Alphari is just waiting across the bush here. And then it's the CC chain. It's the Poppy into the wall, into the Renekton, into all the damage. And you feel like he's going down. But as you mentioned yourself while it was happening, great wind wall from the side of Perkz. But then once again, the man from Mad Lions himself, Elyoya, flashes forward, catches Carzzy, while Carzzy has the flash. He has the ultimate as well, but just not quick enough reactions to actually deal with it. The rest of the members from Vitality are so scattered that when Selfmade finally goes in from the Diana with the ultimate, Perkz is not nearby to actually capitalize in it with the combo. And just like that, shutdowns going over to Mad Lions. 3 kills now sitting on Unforgiven, and 2 items on the Jinx compared to Carzzy that's only finished up the Muramana.
And I think this has been the question for so long, is that we know Elyoya can set players up. When he's given a champion like Diana, he can carry. But when the Diana fell away, who was going to rise up and be that carry? In this game, Reeker's been playing well, but everyone feels like they're setting up Unforgiven. Already having a Laure Dominix against so many bruisery champions on the enemy team this early in the game is fantastic for Unforgiven and for the Mad Lions. That said, gold, only 800 in their favor. Still have to be careful, still have to play this one pretty well. And the stakes, remember, for Vitality, they win, they're in. They get 2 more chances to do it. Mad, they have to win every single game this week. Vitality, though, is their hardest opposition. So winning here very much means hope is alive. That said, they do also need other teams to lose out, so it is not completely in their hands. But the start to a Mad Lions miracle run has to be with a win over Vitality right now.
Yeah, that's just going to give you the momentum. You take away the hardest team of the hurdle there, you're going up against Astralis BDS. I mean, that's super winnable, let's be real. And for the side of Mad Lions, you know, we were talking about Unforgiven. The first few weeks, he looked really good. He looked really clean. Potential rookie of the splits if we just honed in on that in itself with a finicky champion pool. And then it started to slow down a little bit. I think part of that as well was due to the fact that Mad Lions, they started making drafts a little bit difficult for themselves as well. They gave themselves very slim windows, a very little potential for playmaking, and especially lacking a scaling aspect. This time around, you have that scaling aspect. You have the peel for Unforgiven as well. And now, Reeker,
Gold card, rapid fire cannons there as well. Easy setup, but immediately denied there by the wind wall for now. Instead, Labrov is going to be the focus here. No third Q stacked up quite yet. A bit of a slower fight. Again, Mad Lions want to lock down and isolate a single member. They don't really have enough damage right yet to win an entire team fight straight up. Jinx, of course, gets a lot of time to auto-attack, but that's going to be the ultimate, but it stops, but the feathers have come out. They can get pulled back here immediately to try to get a little bit more CC. Alphari trying to lock up Armut. Perkz now going into the middle. He's going to find two, and now Unforgiven's in trouble. He's leaping right back out. He knows when he's overstayed his welcome. He's got the tornado, he's got the wind wall. It's clean play from Perkz, but it's just not enough. Unforgiven with the double kill. Mad Lions in control on the top side of the map. Rocket going in, but it's not going to do anything.
What an absolute hero. As soon as Selfmade dashed in, Perkz was stunned up against the wall there. So Mad Lions, that could have been a disastrous team fight for them, but they managed to fight it out. And let's have a look at it once again in the replay, because they are over chasing. They are grouped up. Selfmade, he's not on vision. If he can get into the backline here, it's perfect. But it's from Elyoya once again. Knocks Perkz into the wall immediately. Selfmade forced to stopwatch up. And just like that, they get an incredible engage with Kaiser and the Alistar. They get to kite out Perkz with a great flash from Unforgiven. And despite a great wind wall from Perkz, he's just not able to fight it out. And Mad Lions, once again, they come out on top in a team fight.
It's massive. They went from about a 2K gold deficit now to almost 1.5K ahead in their favor. They tied up the towers. They're going to be ahead in Drakes after this play as well. They are firmly in control of this game. Elyoya 4, 1, and 7. Part of every single kill. Kaiser as well. This is the jungle support duo we knew Mad Lions had. We knew that they could play this well, but now they are finally showing up when it matters most. Paired alongside the success of Armut, Reeker, and Unforgiven. It's been a good game so far, but they have to stay vigilant. We've seen a lot of mid-game fumbles, honestly, from both of these teams.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, especially from Vitality, right? As we already mentioned, like, we talk about this team getting ready for best of 5s. We want to see more from them in a best of 1, and games like this is the exact reason why. Because some of the throws came out from, you know, a 3 versus 4 situation you just bluntly shouldn't have opted in for. And it does become difficult with this team because they have the individuals for it. That's why they're going for these plays. But sometimes you need to take a step back and just relax. But Mad Lions, once again with Reeker, they're looking.
They just rinse and repeat. There's so much CC. The wind wall will not stop the Everfrost. Selfmade goes into the wall. Maybe they can try and turn it, but it's the front line. They just cannot kill the front line. Alphari trying to disrupt the back line, but he's immediately exhausted. Gale Force back out to safety. Vitality are getting picked to pieces. They're out of cooldowns. Carzzy's now in trouble. One more headbutt. Pulverize into the Gnar. Selfmade trying to make a hero play on the backside, but he's just going to get chipped away at. Vitality again and again in these exchanges. It seems like they may have found an opportunity, but every time Mad Lions managed to make it work. TP now coming in. Elyoya pushing the back. Reeker going golden just in time. Elyoya stepping out, perfectly spacing away from the Yasuo. And Perkz just can't get anything done. The wind wall falling away means he is the dead man walking. There is nothing he can do here, and Mad Lions are dominating these fights.
Mad Lions, where have you been all season? This is beautiful team fighting we're seeing from them, and it's coming out beautifully with the intricacies of how the comp is supposed to function. Elyoya is a madman on this puppy. Even Armut, despite the weak early laning phase, is starting to show up in the team fights. And Unforgiven and Reeker, once again the 2 rookies that came in to the team this split, is showing up. Reeker is the one facilitating it. We talked about it quite often. We've been so used to trying to see teams facilitate him, try and help him in. But he's the one who pops the Destiny Gate, looks for the play initially, and the rest of Mad Lions, they follow up. Unforgiven, attacked in the backline by Alphari, kites it out with the Gale Force, and then the rest of Vitality, they're just getting scattered across each other. There's no cohesiveness. It's just getting picked apart by Mad Lions, who's dissecting them in this team fight.
And I love it.
It's great.
I love it, Guldborg, because Reeker has a straight. He goes in every time his ulti's off cooldown. He throws down a gold card. He does whatever he needs to do to come out on top. Unforgiven, you auto attack people. That's your job. For Armut, Elyoya, Kaiser, they get to flex those team fighting skills they spent all of last year building. Every single time they disrupt the Vitality Wombo combo. We saw it on the top side fight where they interrupted so the Yasuo could not follow up on the Diana. We know what they want to do. Diana ult, into Yasuo ult, into all of the lethality Xayah feathers coming through and instantly obliterating Mad Lions, but they have not gotten to do it a single time.
Let's be real, if one team was going to know how to counter Diana and Yasuo, it probably would be Mad Lions from how much they played the combo in the beginning, although they started being a little unsuccessful on it. But either way, you know, every time I see Reeker just pop that ultimate, I get a little bit of a chill. It's like, okay, it starts slowing down. Is he going to pop it? Is he going to look for a pick somewhere? Because so far, every time I've seen the Destiny Gate, Vitality has just backed off. They know what's coming. And Mad Lions, they're playing as a team.
They are. Good to watch. It's like they set themselves up for success. Clear win conditions, clear things that they want to do. Vitality will look for more opportunities to come back in this game, but it is difficult. Unforgiven caught out here, but the exhaust comes in clutch. The knockback, are they going to use it, or are they just going to go for the kill on a Selfmade instead? Just lets the ulti fade away. They're going to take him down, and again, you get caught out as a single member. I thought it was Mad who had to be worried about getting caught out against Yasuo. No. The amount of CC on this team means you don't get to play League of Legends. You thought Morgana binding was long. You have not played against Poppy, Alistar, Gnar, TF.
It's really just a CC train, and you know what's really concerning is the lack of Mercury treads we're seeing on Vitality right now. We're seeing one, and it's on Labrov. And it just goes to show that Vitality, they really did not expect the amount of CC they're going to be facing when they were playing up against Mad Lions. 27 minutes into the game, Mad Lions break open the first lane by taking the top lane inhibitor. And yeah, Selfmade was the one going for that. Unforgiven had the exhaust ready. You could even see Elyoya started charging up the ultimate only to realize, wait. He's the one that's inting. Let me just not throw him away and let's just get the kill.
Such a hectic game. 21 seconds left on the Baron means we will have a brief respite before any other crazy fights come out. It's not going to be Mountain Soul, so no real reason for Vitality to rush this one. But it's going to be hard because Vitality don't have amazing wave clear. They have the wind wall to buy a few seconds if Mad Lions Siege comes through, but with a melee mid laner, melee top laner, melee jungler, only really the Xayah can safely and reliably wave clear, which is going to make sieging in the future, another Baron going over to Mad Lions, feel like a death sentence. Short of, again, the ever possible perfect wombo combo for Vitality. But as Mad Lions have denied it every single time, outside of one or two picks in the early game, there's just no reason to believe that they're going to get that opportunity.
Exactly, because remember, they picks they got in the early game as well. That wasn't a full-blown team fight. That was like single members. They were able to catch off guard. Elyoya in the jungle and Raptors getting Perkz ahead. And then when you have to play into the composition 5 versus 5, it's just not going to work out as well. You see the amount of disengage we're getting, and beautiful 3 members getting knocked away. Isolation.
Elyoya tanking the tower, though. Very tanky again. Got the crit damage reduction coming in from the Randuins. Mad Lions breaking. Another lane open. Luckily for the side of Vitality, top lane very far pushed out. Yes, the supers are going to push it back, but it means that Vitality can feel free to group in this lane and prepare for a team fight. Carzzy getting poked away. Mad Lions slowly but surely pressing in, not getting over eager. That's going to be the key.
Remember the flashes. Selfmade's flash is going to be crucial in stepping in, but even look at Unforgiven. He's so far behind. He knows exactly what Vitality's win condition is right now. So all Mad Lion has to do here is just not get over aggressive.
Gnar coming out just in time should give them enough space to walk forward and take this inhibitor. When it falls away, Vitality have a clear window to try to force an engage, a clear window where a little bit of the CC for Mad Lions is gone, but Mad grab the inhibitor. They're not going to stick around for anything else. And with bot inhibitor down for the next Baron spawn, for the next Dragon spawn as well, things are going to be very, very difficult. Next to impossible, honestly, for the side of Vitality. But as you highlighted at the start of the game, we've seen crazy Vitality comebacks. We've seen sloppy games turn into Vitality wins. And so with this composition, you're always holding on to that little sliver of, you know, Vitality hope, let's call it, that they could turn this one back in their favor and lock playoffs in this game.
Yeah, we've seen Misfits versus G2 as well. I mean, there's so many small instances you can bring out in terms of when you finally throw the games away. But what I kind of want to bring into the conversation is that normally I'd say, okay, it's about coming in from a flank. It's about staying out of vision and then getting access to the backline. Problem is, Reeker on the Twisted Fate is so good to just use that ultimate as well to just get intel. Like, if you don't see members, just pop the Destiny and Gate. You barely need to use it now to get side lane pressure because you have supers in top, you have supers in bot. Like, this game right now is currently Mad Lions' games to lose. It would require a mistake, because as we've already seen in a 5v5 setting, the disengage from Mad Lions is just too good. Vitality is having such a struggle team fighting into it, and Reeker, there he goes again.
Gold card comes out, but it's a little bit too late, or rather, Wind Wall comes out, but that's going to be the long but Unforgiven onto the backside. He has every cooldown, no demand, but it's not enough. The Gale Force, the flash, but the Tornado will finish it. That's a shutdown. That's big for Vitality. Carzzy, a lot of space to work with. Reeker over the wall with the gold card. They're going to lock him up. Armut, the ulti, where's it going to go? Knocking away, looking to disengage. He's going to come in. He's going to go in for the kill. He's going to take down Carzzy. Mad Lions are simply too far ahead. Vitality thought they had found an opportunity, maybe the healing from Alphari, but no, again, the CC train is here, and it's running all the way to the station. Armut on a rampage. Mad Lions dominate again.
Even without Unforgiven in the fight, even with that beautiful pickup from Vitality, that would have been their best case scenarios. They're just not able to fulfill the team fight. It's absolutely insane how far ahead Mad Lions is currently. And now they have to deal with super minions at their base. At the same time, Mad Lions is just starting up the Baron. They don't need their hyper carry for this one.
Guldborg. I thought that was it. I thought that was the window. But that proverbial window of opportunity has most certainly closed. This Baron should be the death of Vitality. It should be one more day in the LEC with hopes alive for the side of Mad Lions. This is big. Again, remember, take a look at the standings. Team Vitality, we feel like they're already in. We feel like playoffs is already locked coming into this week. SK make an upset. Mad Lions make an upset. And if that just keeps coming through, if these upsets keep happening, suddenly the race is alive and well.
And let's have a look at it again, because for once, it's a great pickup. Have a look at Labrov. There's a pink ward just spotting out Unforgiven so he can flash over while the rest of Mad Lions is looking for the engage. But even with Unforgiven going down in this instance, the rest of them are just getting out-team fought. 2 versus 4, realistically speaking, with Armut on the Gnar, who's finally showing up in the team fight. Just flashing onto Carzzy. Once again, dies with flash, but he's just not expecting Armut to go forward from his former teammate there. Little bit of revenge coming through, and Alphari, I mean, he's left alone. Armut comes through with a great Q, so even the slice and dice is not enough to take Armut down.
And you can see how a single miscalculation from the side of Vitality costs him so much. Perkz flashes forward, gets the 3rd Q from Yasuo to finish that kill on Unforgiven. It looks good. Kaiser and Elyoya go on him. I think, hey, he's got a lot of life still. Maybe he's going to live. No. Ignite comes down. Infinite CC comes down.
Perkz not quite far.
Oh, Perkz locked up. Gold card comes out, but again, the Everfrost does not really care about that wind wall. Perkz getting slowly chipped away at. There's another gold card, and he cannot play the game. It just keeps happening over and over again, but there's the combo. Maybe now Xayah coming in, big damage coming back from the lethality, but not nearly enough to get anything done. Mad Lions, again, they are just beating them down with their wallets. Vitality find brief moments where they can get it right, but it is not enough. It has not been enough throughout this entire game, and Mad Lions will make the upset happen. They will take down Vitality, and they will keep their playoff hopes alive for another day.
Completely different Mad Lions we're seeing today from last week. Last week they tried to be so creative. So many top playmaking scenarios was pushed upon them, making the Aatrox work, making the Rise work in the early game as well. But this time around, they just have a scaling peel composition, play for Unforgiven. We set it up today, Drakos. Who's going to be that secondary carry? Well, he's sitting on your screen right there. Unforgiven once again on the Jinx with an absolute madman. Mad Lad, but I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just
Mad Lad performance.
Beautifully
he plays for Mad. He is the lad, Mad Lad. Key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Elyoya, Unforgiven, Kaiser. Vote for your favorite Mad Lad. I mean, fantastic game.
They're all great.
Really well controlled.
They're all great.
And I've gotten so used to seeing those Yasuo dynamic compositions just come back like that it's refreshing to see Mad Lions close out with that much confidence. That said, the Mad Lions, they live another day as they secure this must-win over Vitality. After the break, we're going to hear from Elyoya on this victory, but first let's listen to Excel's thoughts on this Super Week as they are looking for their first ever playoffs. They had the early game, they threw it all away, and when you give G2 a lead, they do not back down. Excel, for the 6th split in a row, will be denied playoffs.
Missing playoffs felt really bad for me every time, because I think every split we were also really close. Maybe 7 wins, or I think we had even 8 wins one split, and we still didn't make it. When it happens so often, just like makes you doubt yourself a little bit, like if you're still good enough. Or for me, I'm 21. I've been playing in LEC since I was 17, so I'm not always sure if I'm still good or if I'm getting too old. But if you make it this time finally, I think I'll just be really hyped up about it and happy that I'm still really good.
And thus they can stop Vitality from returning to their base. Finn, he can't even take down the second tower, but he will take down the Wukong. Now they're all leaping in Finn. What can he do? Finn taking down Selfmade! The GG Excel find their first win.
I think in the Super Week, it's very important for us to win some games. For me, some are more important than others. For example, the G2 game. And then we also play Fnatic and SK. I think the one against SK is quite important. They're like similar to us in the standings. But for me personally, I think the G2 one matters the most. So I'll for sure win that.
I think most importantly, we have to stop thinking about playoffs. I think if we just play our own game, we can beat any team right now. We just focus on what we can do, and it will happen for us.
3 years in the making, XL have fought and fought and fought, but they've never beaten Fnatic. Let XL say today, no one beats them 13 times in a row.
Making playoffs would be, of course, really big for me. I think everyone in this team, because it's never happened for Mark, and Finn had like a bad year. All of us in Excel, we weren't always like super successful. So I think making playoffs is just a big step forward, and I think can encourage us to realize that we're actually really, really good. I know it's not like super easy to support the team that never makes playoffs, but I will be really happy to make them proud a little bit.